Welcome to the show, Joey Loperfido. That's right. You are now a Houston Astro. Your dream has come true, and it's going to be an exciting time at Minute Maid versus the Cleveland Guardians. So we're going to talk about this, what this means for the roster, who's been sent down, and what other moves will possibly be made on this exciting edition of the 2-win streak Houston Astros.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day, not just when the Astros are on a 2-game winning streak. Yes, it's against one of the worst teams in baseball, but it's still a step in the right direction. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Just like when you play Monopoly Go. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it's a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store or Google Play Store. And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check us out. Go and become an everydayer and go ahead and give us a big fat thumbs up while you're there. And Brett, while you're not at Minute Maid Park tomorrow buying a Joey Loperfido jersey, where can they find you at?
You've already read my mind. I've wondered how I can get a hold of one of those. You can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at Back to the Bullpen on X and Instagram. And you can find me at Stros411 on X and Facebook, where I'm always positive, always Stros. And it's funny you say that, Eric, because today I've thought on more than one occasion, if I go buy a blank jersey, because some of the blank jerseys are actually on sale, I think I'm going to get the Loperfido on the back. I just don't know what his number is. I'm sure I'll know it by the time I get to the ballpark, but that would be a really cool souvenir. Thank you for confirming that purchase for tomorrow. Eric, this is a kid that I had the amazing opportunity of interviewing. You and I had kind of reached out to him, and it was a great interview. And I encourage anybody to go back and watch that interview. Always been impressed with him, and we've been impressed with him. And the swings and misses and the strikeouts have really been a concern. Right. But when you think about, Eric, his OPS and everything else that comes along with that, you're like, this is a kid that could really light a fire. If he can get a hold of some pitches, he can be a head turner really quick.
Yes, he has a slash line of 287, 393, 713, and 101 at bats for the Space Cowboys. He has 37 strikeouts, 16 walks, but he does have a minor league leading 13 home runs. So he is one of those, I don't know if you remember Jeff Luhnow, one of those years he went out there and got all or nothing type hitters where they're either going to hit home runs, the Luis Valbuena, the Kobe Rasmus, where they're going to hit a lot of home runs or they're going to strike out. And so that's what type of player that Joey Loperfido kind of projects to be. Somebody that's going to hit some home runs, but he's also going to strike out a lot. I don't know if he's going to have a high batting average, I think he'll have a 700 type OPS at the big league level. So I think what the Astros, they don't know what to expect from him, because typically guys that strike out a lot, they typically don't do so well, except if your name is Adam Dunn, and you can have a career having a 200 batting average while hitting 50 home runs.
No, exactly. And it's not just his bat and his power. The fact that he hits from the left side, that's huge. He's got oppo power. He's got pull power. He can hit all over the field, but it's his glove. He really profiles as a center fielder, but he can play all three center field positions. They have worked him at first, and I've been at a couple games where they've worked him at first, and I've shared some of that footage with the fans here on our YouTube channel. That's why if you're listening, you got to get to our YouTube channel, because we do extra content like that all the time. And I just don't think they're ready to put him there. I think some other things have to happen, and we'll get to those things. in order for him to quote unquote take over at first base. It also depends on how they're feeling about Chaz and, Jake Myers, Eric. I mean, if they're not feeling confident in them, you could see Loperfido in left, you could see Dubon in center field and Kyle Tucker in right, and then see Chaz maybe DHing and Myers just being a bench player. But for all intents and purposes, Joey profiles as more of a utility guy right now than a set in stone in any one position. So that may help him in the long run get on the field more often.
Yes, and I'm telling you right now, the Astros are not calling up their top hitting prospect just to bench him. They're going to play him. This is not Trey Cabbage. This is not a minor league free agent type of player. I know we traded for him, but he was DFA'd by the Angels, and the Astros took a chance on him because he had 30-30 last year. But this is a guy that the Astros have a lot of hopes on him. And in a little bit, I want you all to think about this, and y'all can put this in the comments. What's the last Astros hitting prospect that you can remember that was so I mean, I know Joey Loperfido is not the top prospect that everybody like the Carlos Correa or maybe the Yordan Alvarez type of player, but what's the last who do you think was the most anticipated arrival of Astros prospect in Astros past? I have an idea. I found an article by ESPN. They listed some recent ones, and also they listed some ones for you older generation out there to talk about. So, but Joey Loperfido is the first of the Astros 2021 class. I believe that's going to make his debut. The problem is that the Astros lost 2 draft picks that year because of the sign stealing scandal, and I believe that's the year they also didn't sign their second pick that year. So the draft pick is the draft pool is very slim. Joey Loperfido has taken advantage of that, and he is going to make his debut a lot sooner than I think the Astros would want it. But this guy's mashing at AAA. And to echo your point earlier, Jake Myers, he has 3 home runs. He's batting .217. He's got a .737 OPS. Okay. Then Chas McCormick. We know what Chas McCormick can do. He's batting .236 with the .603 OPS with 0 home runs. The Astros realize that they may be stuck with somebody at first base, but they have some options for the outfield, and that option is Joey Loperfido, and he will be playing. It's going to be at the expense of those 2 guys, Jake Myers, Chas McCormick.
Yeah, so to answer a question, Supreme Panda is asking us about Cabbage. If you look on the lineup for today's show, it says Cabbage to AAA. So Cabbage will be optioned down to AAA. He did have a good first at bat. And to answer y'all's question, yeah, I don't see any reason why you don't debut Joey Loperfido. And in those most anticipated call-ups, I would definitely say, for me, of course, because I follow the Astros so closely, I would say Alvarez was pretty darn anticipated. I would even say Kyle Tucker. I would say George Springer. I would even go back to guys like Lance Berkman and Roy Oswalt when they came up. Those are ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. I don't know that everybody really realized who Bagwell was or would be at the time. Maybe Craig Biggio, but I don't remember. I think I was like 13 or 14 when he was a rookie. So I don't really know that I was into all the like ins and outs of who was the most anticipated prospects at the time. But those are the ones that come to my mind, because I do remember the buzz about Roy. I do remember the buzz about Lance, because that's when they still had the team.
Hunter Pence too.
Hunter Pence as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Hunter Pence. And I remember they had the New Orleans Zephyrs for the Astros AAA club, in which that team is no more.
Right.
But yeah, so we've had some anticipated call-ups, and I think with as hot as he's been hitting, as many home runs as he's been getting, and like I said, his versatility in the field, Joey Loperfido has grown up in this organization, not just as a player, but physically. I think mentally he's got the right mentality. He shared with me back when he was first drafted, when he, as a rookie, was there at spring training, he would talk to Dusty Baker, and Dusty Baker had a lot of good things to say about him when he was here.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Astros front office had good things to say about him. And it was just about making those adjustments, and I think the Astros did. So we'll see. So I'll go and tell you who the ESPN thought the most anticipated rookie or prospect to make their debut was, and the other guys that weren't named, even though I don't really agree with it. But we'll talk about that in a second.
This episode is brought to you by DoorDash. Right now, you can get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's right. If you want to get your mother something special, we know Mother's Day is right around the corner. She's been special to you. You can make it happen with your mom. You can surprise her with flowers, not just flowers, gifts of all different types, brands she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. And not just that, but tech that your mom wants. Maybe she needs a new watch. Maybe she needs some self-care essentials, and it can be delivered right to her door. It's never too late to show mom your love for Mother's Day with DoorDash. Surprise your mom today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your next order of $15 or more. Tell them Locked On Astros sent you.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, go and check us out. There's no game today, but after every game, go and check out Michael Connor on the Locked On Astros postcast, and he does a great job breaking down everything that happened in game. Hopefully against the Guardians, we'll be talking about some wins. Go and check out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first ever 24/7 streaming platform out there. It's got all the news you need to know out there. And go and check out SiriusXM. You can catch all the play-by-play action. All you have to do is just go to SiriusXM app and search Astros. You can hear all the play-by-play coverage of Rob Ford and Steve Sparks. So they do a great job. And speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and go down memory lane. So Brett, you listed a lot of great prospects earlier, and Joey Loperfido. I think that he's needed right now because of the Astros situation, but I don't think he's as much hyped as some of these guys were.
Yeah, and I don't think he's right.
Yeah, I think Alvarez, in my opinion, was pretty hyped, but I think George Springer, in my opinion, was the most hyped player because he was the glimpse of the future. Once George Springer got here, that's when the Astros started winning. And that's when we're going through the losing seasons. We know that once Springer comes up, I even told my season ticket rep back then, I'm like, once Springer calls up, I'll go and get season tickets. And I did. That season, I got season tickets. I didn't keep them that long, but tickets get pretty expensive. So this is what ESPN said. The most hyped Astros prospect ever is Carlos Correa.
Okay, no, you know what? I agree with that, and I don't even know why I didn't think about Carlos Correa, Eric, because yeah, I mean, he was a first overall pick, and right. Of course, and yeah, how did I skip over Carlos Correa? I went from Springer to like Oswalt and Berkman, so I guess I'm an old.
That's fine. You're trying to go old school, but I think ESPN was saying that he was not the first choice. Everybody wanted the Astros to go with Byron Buxton, and they went with Carlos Correa. So it was like, okay, what will this guy do? Is he going to be good as good as Byron Buxton? And so we saw him make his debut. He became part of the Astros winning the World Series. So I think that Carlos Correa was a big anticipation. So also considered was J.R. Richard, Floyd Bannister, and somebody mentioned it in the chat, Eric Anthony. Eric Anthony was a big.
I remember. Yes, he was big, and he did hit one of the upper deck home runs. You know, I was in 1998. I was at the home run chase where Mark McGwire hit the 11th upper deck home run. I believe Eric Anthony probably hit the 10th, I think he had hit the one before that. But yeah, that was Eric Anthony. I really thought this guy was going to be an all-time great animal, and he just, I mean, he had a good run with the Astros, but he never lived up. Like, he never hit his ceiling, right? Right. But yeah, there's some great names. The Astros got, for all the fans out there that say nobody was a fan of the Astros until 2017, they just simply don't know our city.
Yes. And I think that I would say that Springer, in my opinion, probably tops Correa because of what it meant to Astros fans. So I think in Houston, I think Springer meant more, but I think in across baseball, everybody's like, why did Jeff Luhnow go ahead and pick this high school shortstop instead of this guy who's can't be missed? This can't miss outfielder. So we'll never know. But now, with that being said, we'll never know what's going to happen to Joey Loperfido. He could come up and strike out all 4 times, get the golden sombrero tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen. And so you have to be patient with him.
Man,
So-
hold on, Eric. You can't. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. What are you doing? You can't, dude. You can't just
You
say
know
that.
what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know, but you don't gotta say it, Eric. The golden sombrero. Come on, man.
Okay,
Joey.
Jabu. Is that going to happen? No. Okay. Jabu
Okay.
says no.
Oh man, Jabu. I don't know. I'm not as into Jabu as I think we need to get an actual like Jabu. Like people were
You know how
calling.
expensive those are?
You can always make one in a pottery class at your school. Don't y'all have like an arts and craft at your high school?
Yeah, but I'm too busy teaching to actually do that.
Oh, you have a conference period, dude. Come on, man. You can go in there and make a Jobu and anyways, yeah. So look, what I'm wondering now, Eric, is what are we gonna do when Cleveland gets here and we have 2 guys pitching that now Hunter Brown's had a great start, his last start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Arrighetti, he's had greatness, he's had flashes of greatness, but he's had that 1 inning. If this offense is mid, are we looking at a 2 out of 3 game win series with Justin Verlander sandwiched in the middle? Or are we nervous about games 1 and 3 and we're pretty solid on game 2?
Don't know. At this point, I don't know what to expect from these Houston Astros. If I've learned anything from the 2024 season, is expect the unexpected. If you expect Josh Hader to save a 5-run lead, don't expect it because it's going to fall apart. If you expect the hitters to hit with runners in scoring position, don't expect it. So it's like, I don't know what to expect anymore. But going back to, we haven't finished Joey before we get to the rotation and the Guardian saying, we don't know what the corresponding move is yet. And the fact that this has not been set out there makes me think it's not just a minor move. Yes, Forrest Whitley was put on the 7-day IL, a minor league IL, and technically they would have to add him to the major league roster, then put him on the 60-day IL to IL him. So I don't know if that's going to be an option, but you also have, what is his name? The guy you were just talking about before the show, the one we got from the Marlins.
Amaya.
Yeah, Amaya, you could DFA him. He's just a kind of depth piece that the Astros don't really need.
Right.
But the likely option is you go and DFA somebody, and you go and send Greg Kessinger down because he's not needed. He's a great player, but he's just not needed on this team.
Yeah, well, and he's not getting opportunities. And if you see Greg Kessinger as helping you in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season, he needs to get reps. He doesn't need to be sitting on the bench. Right. I mean, hitting the cages, talking to the veterans, it's not the same as game action. And look, the Space Cowboys are actually playing really good winning ball, and so that's not a bad environment for them to be in. Last year, the Space Cowboys were terrible. They stunk. And this year, they're one of the best in their division. And so I would say that would do Greg Kessinger some good. I know Gray would rather be on the field playing. Of course, he loves being up at the big league club. But like you said, he's not contributing. But once he gets back down, he still has that big league money. I mean, once you get to that big league club, you don't ever go back, you know. And my thing is, the Houston Astros would do well to, I mean, just DFA Amaya. You're sticking with Singleton. You aren't coming off of Singleton at all. You're not going to DFA Abreu. People keep saying DFA Abreu. That's not going to happen. Abreu would have to be an absolute black hole for the next 2 months for them to DFA him. Now, I think by like middle of June, Eric, if he's still batting under 100, there's not a whole lot you can argue to keep him on this team, to be honest. And with his decline, I mean, his decline has happened so rapidly. I mean, him, who else declined? Carlos, gosh, why am I wanting to say the wrong
Carlos
name?
Correa? No, just kidding.
No, Carlos Beltran had a massive decline. I mean, there are a lot of players that have declined quickly, but this guy, he's declined quicker than most.
All right. So if Jim Crane, he loves winning. He wants to do whatever it takes to win, whether it's going out and signing a player, spending money, doing whatever it takes. So this is how much he owes Jose Abreu down at the bottom. $16.25 million for this year and $19.5 million in 2025. No team is going to claim that to take on that salary. So he's going to go through waivers, and some team may sign him for the Astros will have to pay the entire contract. And then some team like the Marlins would go ahead and sign him for the major league minimum. So basically they'll be paying him for peanuts while the Astros are paying for his Rolls Royce or whatever he drives. So the Astros have put themselves in a corner. What?
They have no. Someone's mentioning Rendon, Goldschmidt declining. Oh, you're talking about players. I thought, Rendon. This guy can't even. This guy, he basically snookered. He basically rooked the freaking Angels organization, dude. 275.
Rendon,
yeah. Rendon has totally ripped them off, and then he's all like, I think the season needs to be shorter.
Yeah. He keeps on getting hurt too, so I wouldn't bet on that, but let's talk about FanDuel.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Well, it's playoff time, people, in the NBA and NHL. And baseball is in full swing. And FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed, win or lose. The Astros are coming off a 2-game win streak in Mexico City, and there are some crazy things happening in the NBA. Who's going to make it to the finals? If you want to bet on anything from slap shots in the NHL to home runs to slam dunks, it's all in one app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out and go and give us big fat thumbs up on YouTube and go and subscribe to us. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. Go and check out Michael Connor on the Locked On Astros postcast after every Astros game, and go and check out Locked On Sports Day. It's all the news you need to know, and 24/7. And so it's whether it's what happened to in the football with the draft this past weekend, to what's going on to Rockets and basketball, everything that's going on around 24/7. And go and check out SiriusXM for all the Astros play-by-play coverage. If you are out and about and you don't have the app, you can go and listen to SiriusXM. Just go and search Astros and you'll be able to hear all the play-by-play coverage. So with tomorrow's game, Brett, I don't know. The reason why I think that the Astros are taking their time is they cannot make the announcement of the corresponding move until they talk to that player. So I can imagine Dana Brown and his assistant GMs and the entire front office going any, mini, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe and trying to decide who to get rid of. It's not Jose Abreu. I think that at some point, maybe later on this season, maybe they'll cut the cord, but Jim Crane's like, I'm not eating that money right now. The cheapest option, and if you're really that sold on having somebody who could play shortstop and third base, that's not Mauricio Dubon, you keep Greg Kessinger on this team, but Greg Kessinger could be easily replaced by Mauricio Dubon. And if you have Loperfido playing in the outfield, you don't need Dubon playing in the outfield that much anymore, even though he's Justin Verlander's personal catcher again, for some reason. Yeah. I mean, we want him in the lineup. We like him in the lineup, but I just don't like the personal center fielder.
I like him in the lineup when the runner's in scoring position, but when no one's on base, he is an absolute zero at the plate. I don't understand that at all. So Dubon needs to step it up when nobody's on base, because he's actually one of the worst, but he's one of the best with runners in scoring position and runners on base. Look, I just think it makes sense. There's no need to have Greg Kessinger up here because you have your super utility guy in Mauricio.
You still have to open a spot on the active roster.
Okay. Oh, right. But
on the 40-man roster.
Right. So DFA Amaya, I mean, you're not even, you have no plans for this guy. I mean, do you really need him? I think your relief pitchers are fine. I think your bullpen's doing better. I think you're going to see the back end of those bullpens start shaping in fine. And then look, whenever Urquidy gets back, whenever these other pitchers get back and you bring up JP France, you could always transition him into a long reliever bullpen type role. He would be fine. You could piggyback him. There are options that you have with these guys that are up right now. But what's amazing, Eric, is the numbers that this team has with certain starters in there, like Framber Valdez, Christian Javier. And I don't know if you saw that tweet from Adam Wexler.
They have half the wins with those guys on team. Down, right?
Yeah, Wex with the this is a killer tweet. He basically said right here, Valdez, Verlander, Javier, Blanco have started half the games. They're in 14 starts are 7-0, 1.83 ERA, 83 innings pitched. The other starters 0-10, 9.94 ERA, 51 innings pitched. That's Brown, France, Arrighetti, and Henley. So the bullpen's 2-9. The team is 9-19, obviously. But with your main guys, they're doing their job. The bullpen's getting better. The back end, if they improve and you get other guys back from health, I think the sky's the limit for this team. Mm-hmm. We've been swept 4 times. We talked about last night, all by good teams. But the Rangers, who are in second place, not in first, we have the season series on them 4-3. So that's a nice little added bonus. I just hope Loperfido comes in, and I hope he absolutely comes up there and rakes. I will not wait because I'm going to be at the game tomorrow night. I really hope he debuts, and I can't wait to watch him play in front of the big crowd.
Yeah, I know a lot of people made fun of us the other day when we were talking about, the Astros can still make the playoffs. This was before the Mexico City series because we talked about fan graphs and their everything, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, y'all have your fan glasses on and everything." But this team, once you get the rotation healthy, has one of the best rotations of baseball. They have been starting people that probably shouldn't have been starting. JP France was rushed. In a normal season, he would have started the season in AAA because he was kind of delayed in his spring training, kind of like Justin Verlander was. But I think that Hunter Brown, I don't know his start tomorrow. We need to talk about that series in a second, but his start tomorrow will decide what his role is. Spencer Arrighetti. It's hard to rely on him. He's kind of rushed up because the Astros have put themselves against a wall because they didn't go get a lot of depth this offseason, and now they're paying for it because you're having to go deep into your farm system. Yes, the Astros had some money limitations, but it didn't stop you from getting a $95 million closer who can't close most times. But I'm not going to put that on. I think that the whole dynamic of the Astros bullpen, it's one of the most expensive bullpens in baseball. The dynamic has not been there this year. And until they start winning consistently, I think we're going to continue to see the struggles from those guys.
Well, we saw 7, 8, and 9 do well against the Rockies. Like you said earlier, baby steps. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I don't care how they do in a loss. I need to know, can they hold the line when the team is ahead? Are they going to blow a save like we've seen with Ryan Presley? And as long as they hold the line. But this series, I think, previews out actually pretty well in the Astros' favor, even though the Cleveland Guardians, Eric, are in first place in the Central. They are 19-9. The Astros are 9-19. These are mirrored records. And this is
upside down.
If you would have told me that this would be the case when we played the Cleveland Guardians, I would have said, you're probably smoking some really bad crack. And no, this is reality, kids. We are 6 games out of first place. The Mariners are in first place by a half. But look, who do you think? Look, I think Bregman needs to be up and running this series. I think Altuve is going to hit, but I think Bregman and I think Diaz And if Dubon's in there, those three got to hit. If those three are hitting, I think everybody else hits around them.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think we saw some positive signs from Alex Bregman, especially
Yes.
moving to the 2-hole. He's a little bit more comfortable in that position. He's had a lot of RBIs in the past, but I think he's much better at hitting behind Altuve. And so hopefully he considers that when he decides what his next team is. But the Astros, it'll be Hunter Brown versus Carlos Carrasco in the first game. Justin Verlander versus Tristan McKenzie. That's going to be an interesting game, even though McKenzie is not having the best season. He's still a good starter. And then Spencer Arrighetti versus Logan Allen. Allen is a left-hander, so look for Alvarez and Tucker to have an explosive day. And the exit ticket I have for you, Mr. Chancey, is what part of the batting order do you see Loperfido hitting in?
They're probably going to hit him around 7th. I think he's going to go in the 7th spot.
I'm going to say 8th.
Yeah.
Put a little pressure on him, not to be the second leadoff guy and not to be the last guy, but just to be 8th. I think 8th. So if you say 7th, we'll see where they fit him. I think that's where they start him off. But depending on how good he does, we'll see. So yes, Hunter Brown is starting tomorrow. So any closing thoughts, Brent?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited about Loperfido's debut. I'm excited about the Astros getting back home for 6 games. And I'm anticipating a much better result at home over these next 2 series, even though they're against 2 really good ball clubs. Have faith in this team. Come out and support the Astros. There's a lot of fun things that are going to happen, I think, in the next 6 days.
All right, let's go, Joey.
Well, they said jelly.
Joey
Loperfido.
Loperfido.
Baby kangaroo.